Hello, everybody. This is Rob Fredette with the podcast Hodgepod, and welcome back for another episode. We're going in a different direction on this episode. My guest today is Maria Micha. She is going to be talking about how we can overcome just getting our lives back in order, how to turn things around. Maria, thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm delighted for our conversation.
Yeah, me too. I'm very interested because I have a lot of questions. I know you'll have a lot of answers. Again, welcome. So first of all, if you could, please introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Of course. I am Maria Micha. I am a relationship and breakup specialist and a spiritual psychotherapist. That means that I have all the science behind me. I have master's degrees in clinical mental health counseling, but I'm also a shamanic practitioner and a hypnotherapist. So I intertwine the two for people who choose to, but some people want to stay just with the science. So I'm doing this as well.
That's interesting.
Resolve problems and get answers to their questions and just improve their lives.
So that is really interesting. Just doing research before we got on, you're dealing with healing as well, right? And overcoming obstacles.
All the time. I love obstacles.
Oh, yeah, I think one of the good things about an obstacle is just my thing is anytime you have an obstacle, it's a way to grow. It's a way to get better and maybe improve your life. So talk about that if you would, just like, our daily struggles of obstacles and how maybe we can overcome them. And then we'll talk about the relationship part.
I couldn't agree with you more. When I'm saying I love obstacles, it's not because I love being tortured or seeing people that I care for and I work with being tortured. But if we don't have any obstacles and if our life is just smooth sailing, how are we going to grow? Humans, we do grow when there is pain because we're forced to grow. But when everything is very pleasant, then there is no need to change anything. We're just enjoying the journey. And there is time for that, but there's also time to feel more, see more, be more. And I feel that with the people I work with and the people in my life, when they have an obstacle, I help them take the bird's eye view and see things from a completely different perspective. And the first question I want them to ask is, what can I learn from this? And when you switch your perspective, you're no longer in anxiety. You're a student. And that's what we all are here.
That's true. And it doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be a loss of a job. It could be maybe something that happened to you in your younger years. Everybody goes through those obstacles. I have, but I've always found out whatever happened to me, I always found out I've become better. And sometimes I look back at my past experiences to help me navigate through what's going on now, in the future as well.
Exactly. We have history. The world has history. Our family has history. We can draw a lot of lessons from that, and that can guide us going through a difficult path.
Interesting. One of the things while getting ready for this is I've always been fascinated. What is, like, maybe you can answer, what is the subconscious like in our minds? What is that? And because I always feel like I'll let you explain it, but it's kind of like something that maybe urges you to do something. I don't know. So go ahead and explain that.
Well, we have our cognitive mind, our cerebral mind is what I'm using at the moment to talk to you. And what you're using to talk with me, it's what we use to do math or resolve a problem or read a map. But we also have our subconscious mind and our intuitive mind, and the two can overlap. Our subconscious mind is where the desires that we're not cognitively, cerebrally aware of are seated, but also our greatest fears. And sometimes we're carrying fears from our parents, from our environment, from ancestors that sometimes we've never met, and the collective subconscious mind. Whatever has been said, whatever has been felt, whatever has been thought in the world is around us, and we can connect with that. And there is actually a lot of experiments that show that an idea that has been already formulated in a part of the world, if someone is trying to deal with the same idea or the same mathematical problem, if it has been resolved in another part of the world and they don't know the answer, they're going to reach the same result, the same answer much faster. So the information The good, the difficult, the anxiety, the joy, the happiness, but also the solutions are all around us. We just need to know how to tune in and receive them.
So like we're in the here and now, just so like does the subconscious like it's kind of off there in the side. So if we have to go back and think of something or get through something, the subconscious helps us maybe through a situation.
Yes, as long as you know how to access it. And when we're asleep, or when we're meditating, or when we're being hypnotized, then we're more in contact with our subconscious mind. That's the reason that some people are keeping a dream journal, or some people know that there are certain dreams that are almost prophetic, or they explain to them what they're truly feeling about themselves or someone else. I'll give you an example. Let's say that I have this new friend. We met 3 months ago and I like her. She's lovely. She's amazing. But I have a dream that she's chasing me with a knife to kill me. It could be a fear because I have been betrayed in the past, but could also be my subconscious mind telling me, look, behind the smiles and behind all the alignment that you're experiencing with this person, there is another side to this person who might harm you at some point.
Mm, wow. Real quick, this is something off topic. A couple years ago, I had a dream that my crown came out. That morning, while I was eating breakfast, my crown came out, and that's a true story. And I told the dentist that, and I said I had a dream last night. He took me that day. I said I had a dream last night that my crown came out, and I ate breakfast. So dreams do come true sometimes.
They do. They do. They do. And this is like, if I were your therapist or a friend, I would tell you, start paying more attention to your dreams because you have started accessing what is in your subconscious mind. The majority of us will never know what is there. That's why we make bad choices. That's why we marry the wrong person. That's why we do a job that we don't enjoy. But if you learn how to go into your subconscious mind, through meditation, through shamanic journeys, or through hypnotherapy, or through understanding your dreams and keeping a journal, then you have a lot more information. You have a wealth of knowledge to choose from and draw from when you need it the most.
And one more thing on dreams, though, when we have dreams, it also maybe can reassure us that things are okay and not as bad as we may think it is, and maybe that might wipe it out of our brain just to move forward.
Yes, yes, yes. But you need to listen, right? You cannot put it
Yeah.
aside. And in the fast paced world we're living in, but also it's a very cerebral world, we are told to not believe unless there's proof. And the dream will only be seen as evidence after it has been panned out. But we need to believe in order for it to work out for us. Otherwise, we don't even connect the two. You don't connect your dream with what is happening in your life because you have forgotten about it.
Wow. I, I've had I, I've had dreams where I remember them for years, but sometimes, like when I wake up, I'll have a dream. I totally forget about it. So maybe I should start keeping a journal. But wow, that's amazing.
Definitely. Definitely give a journal. And also, something else for you and for your audience. If you have an important dream in the middle of the night, and it feels that it has given you an answer, a new direction, do not go back to sleep, believing you will remember it in the morning. It's highly unlikely. Get up, just write it down. Now we all have a phone where you can record it and then go to
Mhm.
sleep. You will forget and you might miss out on an amazing message from your subconscious mind. Our subconscious minds are wiser than us because our cerebral mind is listening to information from other people who don't necessarily understand how the world works, or they're listening to fear, or they are affected by the fear around us. But our subconscious mind is wiser, knows the truth, is where our spirit lies. And we need to learn how to connect with our spirit. It has so much information for us.
Well, it's amazing you said that. Real quick, another thing, about 20 years ago, I gave up smoking, but it was for a serious health event. And I was a smoker for 20 years. And I have been smoke free for over 20 years. But
Congratulations.
after about thank you. I'm so happy about it. But like about 3, 4 months after I had my episode and then I quit smoking, I had dreams in the middle of the night. I was smoking a cigarette and I would wake up in the middle of the night with like cold sweats thinking I had smoking a cigarette. And that really bothered me. And I said, no, I didn't smoke a cigarette. This is just a dream. That's weird. Well, how would you characterize that?
This is your fear that you might actually go back to smoking again, which is
Oh
something that
man.
you didn't want. So your fear had found its way to your subconscious mind. So you were living the fear that was alive in your subconscious mind and it was tormenting you.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad I didn't smoke. My goodness. That was fear then. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So, okay. So, talk about relationships, how you help out maybe couples with their relationships, and talk about that if you would, please. Because, sometimes it's not easy, but we all have to get through. But talk about that if you would, how you deal with couples and relationships.
Relationships are difficult nowadays because we don't always know the reason we're entering a relationship. The reason we choose a life partner or we get married or we have children. And when what I want in my life is not aligned with what my partner wants, we were going to have problems. And I love problems because with problems, we can choose to get aligned or we can realize that I want to go this way and you want to go in the completely opposite direction. And actually, what is loving for both of us is to just say, thank you for the experience. I love the journey, but I need to continue by myself and find someone else who's more aligned with me. And every
Hmm.
breakup is taking us to an upgrade. I see myself different. I see relationships different, and I can make a better choice. And this is what life is about: learning, relearning, trying something else, having the courage to choose a different path until I go where my soul feels very safe and very happy.
You mentioned the breakup for some couples who break up. I guess it's the fear of the unknown when they break up because they don't know what's going to happen. So, is that something that you see happen?
Yes, the unknown is always fearful, but the unknown is also so interesting because it's like a clean slate. It's like a white canvas. You can start writing again. But in order to use the best colors and draw what you truly want and not start re experiencing your fears of the past, you need to process the past and you need to leave it behind. So you need to forgive yourself for the choice you made. You need to understand that your partner was not ideal for you right now, but he was the ideal person for you in the past. And just release this, understand where you want to go, and start creating a life that is aligned with your future vision whilst you're experiencing the present fully. Because what we also do, we're like, in the future, when I meet this person, then I will be happy. No, no, you need to be happy now. You need to be happy with what you have and also what you don't have. It's a matter of perspective and a choice to find the goodness. There is always goodness, there is always love, there is always joy, but there might be pain as well. But then again, this is human existence. This is how life is.
You mentioned while getting ready, two words that really, things that really came to when I was getting ready for our episode was healing and soul purpose. Healing is vital no matter what in a breakup, but soul purpose, that's your purpose or my purpose or any of my listeners' purpose. That's what everybody has a purpose in life.
Mhm. Yes. And we can have many. For example, I consider myself to be so lucky. And I think I was guided by the universe. I knew I wanted to become a therapist when I was 9. And that was such a relief. And everyone was laughing at me, my parents, my environment, because they thought, "Ah, can I change a million times?" I didn't. But then I have another passion in life, which is colors, texture, fashion. I love aesthetics. And at 16, I was in between going down the fashion world or doing psychotherapy. And thank God my love for psychotherapy was a lot stronger. But I did do my fashion dream as well. I had an atelier at some point in Europe and I was making clothes and I was actually pretty successful. But I never let go of psychotherapy. It was always there. And I'm so happy that I have found my soul's purpose and I'm very clear. And now I'm using fashion, color, texture, silhouettes for my own personal enjoyment. So we
Mm,
can have more than one soul's purpose. But I believe we choose before we're born what we really want to do. So for
mhm.
you, it's educating people. It's bringing the message out to other people, which is something that we need and want so much. For an athlete, is setting a role model and working with his body and teamwork, bringing people together, achieving something, working together for the victory. and also working together for the victory, but accepting the loss. What a lesson this is for young people and adults. It is real life.
It is. I played high school basketball years and years ago, and my basketball preached team, team, team. And that still to this day always has been ingrained in my head as far as being a team. The one player does not make a team, it's the whole collective of people to make everything successful. So I find that interesting. You want to surround yourself with good people now, in our lives, but back when we're growing up, you want to surround yourself with good role models, good people that'll help you, move on. You don't want to be around people who are negative because that can drag you down.
Exactly. Or you also need, because there are negative people everywhere. So you maybe need to learn how to deal with them and how to shield them in a golden energetic bubble, and it doesn't affect you, but you
Yeah.
allow them to do their own thing. And you can say, hey, dude, do you want to do things a little bit differently? And if they say no, that's fine, but let them be. You don't have to fight them. You don't need to try and change their mind. You just let them go on their own journey, and life will guide them.
Yeah, I've heard in the business, was it 20% or 10% of people will try to drag down the 90% of people. So I've heard that in the business. The people who are negative will try to suck the people who are the good people in a business. So I always find that fascinating as well. So talk
Can I
about.
tell you why?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can I tell you why?
Yes.
Because our brain is really wired to be driven by fear. So when the 10% of people in the business are being very negative, we are genetically predisposed to listen to fear because the fear will lead us to survival. So that's how they put their funks in us, and they start taking all our good energy and they're replacing it with fear. And now we're like marionettes. We're at their mercy. And that's how fear can prevail at times. And a collective of people can make the wrong decisions instead of believing and having faith and hope and taking calculative risk and trying new things, going on an adventure.
Yeah, it's fascinating you said that. I've worked in some scenarios where people were negative, and I decided I didn't want any part of it. I wanted to be surround myself with good people, good role models. So I chose that path because the other path would have probably brought me down. So that is a great, great way to think about that. And that blocks our growth too.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're growing until the day we take our last breath.
Yep.
This is also something that we did not know before. In the 60s and the 50s, psychologists believed that we grow up to early 30s, but now we know we grow every year, and until the last stages of life, we still grow.
Yes, we do. I mean, I learn new things every day. So, like talking to you right now, it's like wow, because we learn from like if I look back at myself like when I was 30, yeah, I worked hard, but you look back at your life, it's like each decade or each year is a chapter, and you look back and you go, wow, I've persevered, and that is just fascinating. Talk about too, it's just not about breaking up, but you're there also to help couples, also survive, right?
Hmm. Yes, not everyone needs to break up. A lot of couples understand each other and they move forward. For example, I'm gonna talk about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. In the very early stages of their marriage, when their kids were young, they have talked about it. They went to a therapist. They didn't know how to manage the different roles, and Michelle was feeling that he was not involved enough. And he helped them. He helped them understand their path, each person's path, and when to intertwine their energies and when to let the other person just go on their own path and take over the family for a few days or a few hours. So, therapists, we can help people understand themselves so they don't expect everything from their partner and feel fulfilled in a relationship whilst themselves and the partner can have some independence, and then they meet again together, enjoy or solve problems or create, understand how their life is going to be, maybe determine the next stage of their lives.
It's fascinating you said that. It's not like I guess you wouldn't say it's like they want to break up, but they probably need a reset or just maybe a reboot in their relationship. Maybe they're not connecting in some areas. So a therapist is the one that maybe can talk to them without emotion. It's like a third party, like an arbitrator.
Exactly. It's an arbitrator who sides with both parties, who can see each party in their own right, in their own glory, but can also help them build bridges so that instead of fighting each other, they can work with each other. They can be more intertwined. But we also need to understand that I am my own entity. My partner is his own entity. I need to give him the space to be, to grow in his own right, support him when I can. And he has to allow me to do the same and understand that we will be coming together and we'll be growing apart and we'll be coming again together for a longer period. And then we will have to grow. And this is the challenge of life. We have so many roles. I am a self. I'm a professional. I am a mother. My partner is himself, a professional. He's someone's son. He's someone's father. And we have all these different roles that sometimes we don't know how to juggle. We don't know what to prioritize. And we need to prioritize love. We have forgotten how to prioritize love lately. We prioritize everything else: wealth, profession, sometimes our children, but we don't prioritize the love between the partners.
Hmm. Have you ever had a situation where a couple may have been, far, far apart, and maybe at that point of breakup where they actually came together and said, "Hey, we're glad we're together"?
Yes, many, many times. Because what they were fighting about, they realized it was just the excuse, not the real reason. But they needed to see that through that pain. And sometimes we get too stuck in our own pain, so we don't see that the other person's in pain as well. And we don't know how to give freedom and how to ask for help. We don't know what is the right time to say it is your stage. Now you need to take off and take this opportunity because it's amazing and I want you to be happy and your profession will take you to another level. And when to say, now actually I have just given birth through a cesarean, so I really need you to get 1 month off or 2 months off. I need your help to create our family together because I am
Hmm.
also lost and tired.
One thing I find too is social media hasn't helped either, right? Because you see things online. I've seen something recently on Instagram that people are busting their spouses because their spouses are doing things on Tinder. I didn't even know what Tinder was, and probably until about a month ago. And it's like, why would you do that to your significant other, your husband or your wife? I mean, you guys went got married, you did the vows. Why, why does something like that happen? Do you know? I mean, I don't know if you can analyze that, but that just it boggles the mind. It really, I have to scratch my head when I see that.
Cheating is multidimensional and multifaceted, and the causes of it can be very different. So I will just list a few. The most common one is wanting recognition. I want constant recognition. And I feel that my partner is too busy. We have two young kids or a
Hmm.
newborn, or she has a very particular career. So I'm going to move away from this and I'm going to find someone else who has more time, has more energy, is of course more shiny because I only see him when we're outside. So he comes back after a nice shower, wears the best clothes, treats me like a princess. And now I am seen. Now I'm being recognized. But I need to be able to see myself so that I don't need external validation all the time.
Hmm.
That is one. Another reason that people cheat is because they're bored. In the beginning of a relationship, we're in the luminant state, our brain resembles the brain of a person who has bipolarity. So there is so much energy. We feel the butterflies in our stomach, all the colors are vibrant. We cannot wait to see the person. But as time goes by, that excitement should be slowly replaced by love. And I need to be happy with the love. I need to be happy with some routine and some normalcy. And I need to know that every now and then there's going to be a lot of joy. We're going to go on a trip. We're going to celebrate success. We are going to have an amazing holiday. But my life is not going to be like this exciting phase of the first 3, 6 months. But if I have not been prepared for life by my parents or my community, and if I only strive on riding that wave at the top when the wave crashes and I'm just sailing, I might want someone else to bring a very exciting wave. So
Hmm.
then I will go to Tinder, and that's when I will find someone else to give me this excitement. So it has to do with me not being happy within myself, it rarely has to do with my partner. And if it has to do with my partner, then to have a conversation and say, hey, I need more of this. I need more excitement. I need more date nights. I need you to see me. I need you to affirm me a little bit more. I need some more compliments instead of going and finding it somewhere else. And that's how we build good relationships. We go to a partner and say, I need more of that. Can you give it to me? But we haven't learned how to do that. And we just go straight to external validation and external recognition. And then everyone's hurt. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing again and again is that sometimes people will never recover because they believe that that one betrayal is what they will get all the time from every relationship.
Mhm.
Never try again.
I always find something for simple for me is my wife and I, we do date nights. A lot of fun on Saturday night. We'll go to date night to Walgreens, or we'll do date night at Target or somewhere else. And we'll just do a date night, just keep doing stuff. So I think that's very important for a date night for a couple.
It is. It is because you reconnect, you disengage from the routine, you do things that you enjoy. Different people express themselves differently, but it could be a nice meal out. It could be going to Target. It could be laughing. It could be going to a comedy show, going to a park, going for a hike, going to
Yeah.
a dance club and dancing away. Remember how it was to be 20?
Yeah. Talk about, if you would, too, I found interesting, breaking free from ancestral patterns. What is that? Because that is something I've never heard before.
There are many ancestral patterns that keep us tight. I will give an example from my family.
Okay.
My great grandfather was very wealthy and he went to the stock market. And the stock market crashed during Second World War. So he lost 80% of what he had. My mother, who still inherited quite a lot of that wealth and from what her parents created, she lost almost everything in 2008. I am terrified of the stock market. And I know that this is an ancestral pattern that I need to break free from because that could create some financial securities for me, but I still have not embarked on it. The main reason is because I don't understand very well the stock market. But this is a way that I can be stuck in life. Then it's not even my fear. This is not my fear. I haven't lost
Hmm.
anything. I will give you another very common example. People are terrified of love. And it's because an ancestor that they never met was betrayed, was abandoned. Maybe a woman who was abandoned in 1910 with 3 kids and she didn't have any profession. Back then, women were not really working. And that has trickled down from generation to generation. That story is being told. And now someone who's in their 30s, they don't want to get married, they don't want to have kids. It is not through their own experience. It's an ancestral pattern that has been repeated, has been reinforced, and has been
Mm,
broken. So I
wow.
take people through a shamanic journey to see it, and sometimes through hypnotherapy, and I give them tools to break free from that. For some people, it takes one session. For some people, it takes a little bit more. But once you know it, now you can do something about it. Because if I don't know it, I cannot do anything about something I'm not aware of.
So do you fear like the stock market or fear of loss of wealth? I mean, do you still fear that?
I don't fear the loss of wealth. I feel that I will always have enough. And there have been a few times in my life where I've had nothing. I had to go to the supermarket and take things out of the cart because I didn't have enough money in my bank account to pay. But somehow I know will always be taken care of. But I do fear the stock market. And probably this is the reason I don't want to understand it. But I know where it's
Yeah.
come from.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days, 38 cents in my bank account. And I had to make it last for 3 or 4 more days. So I know that feeling too. That's what makes me work hard right now and be thankful for what I have. So your your early years are also a way to be thankful for what you have now, because again, every year is a chapter, but we grow from those days when I had like 38 cents in my bank account to where I am now. So I guess that keeps my fire going.
Exactly. Exactly. But you see, I'm not scared of abundance and I don't believe I will not have it. I'm just scared of trying the stock market. But I will tell you who is breaking that ancestral pattern in my family. My son. He's in finance and business. So he's dealing with the stock market every day and he's doing very well with that and he's investing. But I still don't want.
That's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. And you know what? That's like probably that's one of those things you'll never try. I'm not like I'm not a dancer. I'm not going to try dancing, but I'm good at like doing maybe fitness or other those things. So I'm not going to try to do a Zumba class, but I can do like a hit class. So that I'm not going to try Zumba because it's a great exercise, but I'm not very good at it. So I guess that's one
exactly.
of my fears.
It's knowing our strengths as well.
Exactly.
Knowing what I'm good at, I'm a lot more successful at it because I'm not going to try something that I don't feel good about or I'm scared of it, or I know that I'm not going to be good at that. But you see, as a mother, I probably did something well because I broke that transgenerational pattern of fear of the stock market because my son doesn't have it. He's like, oh, very good at that. That's what I'm doing for life.
Yeah, I think about like being in my fields I've worked in over the years. It's like people, you hear two sides: go with the strengths, or let's go with the weaknesses, so we can help build ourselves up. So there's probably two ways to look at it, right?
Definitely. Definitely. And if my weakness is an area I'm interested in, then I should work on it so that it becomes my strength. There's so many people have done it. But if my weakness is not an area I'm interested in, why put my energy there? I should put it in something that I'm naturally interested in and naturally good at.
hmm I've also said, I've also thought like getting out of your comfort zone will help make you grow and help you, have character in business. If you get out of that comfort zone, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but as you get stronger and you keep doing that weakness, I also think that's a good way to do it too.
Definitely. We need to get out of our comfort zone, but also combine it with where our interest is and where our strength is or will be through practice. You see, people who have neurodiversity, they have ADHD or dyslexia. If they love what they're reading, it overrides their natural limitation. So, being interested in whatever you're choosing to overcome, whatever you are limited one way or the other, will give you the strong wind on your back, and you're going to go forward.
That's a great way to look at it. I look back sometimes just in my when I've gone through some rough patches. I got out of my comfort zone, but then it helped bring me up, and nothing's perfect. I'm still learning every day. Everybody still learns every day. So I think that's good. One thing I really find fascinating is just the way you're giving people an ability to reconnect, break free from old patterns. And another thing is stepping into a life of alignment and purpose. I think is that the final result of going through like talking with couples or talking to people about their lives?
Definitely understanding what your life's purpose is. And as I said, it can be more than one. For you is educating people. You were also in the business world. So you helped the world grow financially. You helped people have abundance or mm, maybe market their products. But it can be more than one things. I love psychotherapy. I love helping couples find their way back to each other or realize that their paths have to be disconnected so that each of them can find happiness all by
Mm,
themselves, but also help people manifest their dreams. We are so limited by certain blockages that other people have put in front of us, whether it is the school, our family, our community, and I help people release it so that they can see what their heart truly desires. If I'm afraid, I will be afraid to see what I truly want. So, how am I going to go after it? Finding your life's purpose can be more than one thing. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to have kids. Maybe you want to be an artist. At the same time, you want to go to medicine school. You can do everything. This is what I'm telling people every day. You can always be more than one thing.
So when you talk to couples, do you ever get emotionally drained after maybe a day, or is there instances where you got drained because you were not able to help out a couple? What's that like for you on a personal level?
I would lie if I were to tell you that I don't feel for couples or I don't connect emotionally with them. In clinical mental health school, we're told to not connect with our clients. But I feel that if you don't connect with the clients, you cannot help them. So I do connect with them. And if we reach a place where they can no longer be together, I do experience this, not disappointment, it's a small death, something dies, something ends, something comes to a full stop. And then the dream dies because they have a dream. Most people get married or they come together with a dream, and that dream has to come to an end. But I also know that every cycle that closes, there is another one that is opening up. So I give
Mhm.
myself 1 hour, 2 hours to stay in this energy, and then I am focusing on what is next for them and what is next for me. And for me, usually is either being with friends, being with people I love, or another client. And I connect deeply with my clients. I feel that this allows them to feel safe, to feel supported,
Uh,
and to feel that I have their back. And from this place of emotional safety, they can make all the changes and make sometimes difficult decisions and take calculated risks in order to move forward.
I had a boss tell me one time, a senior leader that I used to work for, and I had a rough patch for a while, and he said, "Feel sorry for yourself for 5 minutes and move on." And I still use that motto today. You can feel sorry for yourself, but move on after that. You have time for 5 minutes, and that's it. And that's always stuck in my brain, and I still follow that today.
An amazing boss. Wonderful advice. You see, we don't move forward if we start living in that failure, that pain, that discomfort, or the injustice. It happened, but it's not happening now. So, what can I derive from that? What are the golden nuggets of wisdom, of strength, of knowledge that I can take with me for the present and the future? But whatever happened to me back then is not happening to me now. That's when we get depressed and anxious. We still live in the past.
One thing that you just mentioned, a connection. I used to work in the food business for over 20 years, but anytime I go to a restaurant, I go to a fast food restaurant, I go to a coffee, I always have I don't know, a special affinity for people who work in the food business because I know they work their what's off, and like I did. And I always have this connection with them. And I always thank them and I'll tip them a little bit more. I'd always, is that something that has to do with like what we're talking about?
It is, but also food is nurturance. And we sometimes don't pay a lot of attention to the people who are there to offer a service to us. Because you are in this field, you know the difficulties, you know the pain, but you also know that many times they're performing a service that is not necessarily recognized. You identify with that. You have not forgotten your past, but you're not living in that. You're not living in that pain, yet you are very complimentary and helpful to the people who are in this role. That makes you a person who's grateful, a person who doesn't forget, a person who's going to help the people that help you. These people nurture us. Food is nurturing. We're not going to make it past 10 days without food. And we're going to
I,
be very, very miserable.
I never thought of it that way. Nurturing, that's a great point, and I never thought of it that way. After all those years, nurturing with food, yeah, food brings people together. They break bread.
Yes, they break bread. And that's why the best business deals are happening over food and good wine because people feel so safe when you nurture them. It is one of the nicest acts of love to cook for you or to offer you good food. And I'm happy, I'm joyful to see you being nurtured. I'm nurturing you through my emotions, through my love, through my support, but also through food.
And also when we're just talking about this, it's like when people are gathered, they can just put down their walls they have at work or their walls they have with family. Everybody's together, so we have to act civilized. And as we break bread, then it sounds simple, but it is.
It is, not everyone understands it. People are always, we're so much engaged with the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, or people who are very self centered. What can I get from that? We're breaking bread, we're eating, but what can I get from that? Maybe I can talk to this person and maybe this person can help me gain this. And we are here to help each other, but we help each other more when I'm offering, I will receive because the universe is so fair. Life is fair. What you give out, you will receive. But that's where we get it wrong. Sometimes if I help you, you might not be the one to help me. Actually, you might betray me, but someone else will. But in that moment when you have betrayed me after I've helped you, I'm consumed by pain, and I cannot open up my mind to understand that I will get the help, I will get what I need, but it could be another person. And if I'm stuck at your betrayal, I am cooking in venom. I'm cooking in the pain of the betrayal instead of going, this is what he can do, but I know that life is abundant and I will receive what I need the moment I need it the most.
It's fascinating. Can you talk about too, like when you meet people, or you meet people for the first time, or you meet them over a period of time? You ever hear that saying, "I don't get a warm and fuzzy when I'm around that person"? Do you ever hear that? Because
Oh, yes.
sometimes that's like a guardrail. Just I don't know what it is. There's some people that just don't connect.
Yes, some people don't connect because either they're not interested in you as they're meeting you, or because they have been in so much pain and so much betrayal, they have lost the ability to trust. Every new connection, every time I meet someone, I need to trust the person. I am trusting you with my information. I'm opening my heart, I'm opening my soul to you, and I believe that you're going to take care of what I'm telling you. But not everyone is like you. Someone else might take advantage of what I'm saying. That is not going to change me. I will continue to open up my heart to people, and I will know with time and experience what person I should probably avoid because they don't know how to value what I have offered. But when we become cynical, when we're scared, then yes, we're safe, but we're safe from everything. We're safe from love, we're safe from connection. So we don't experience all the beauty life has to offer. And if we're parents, we raise children in the same environment to not trust, to not believe in love, to not believe in the kindness of human existence. And I believe that there is a lot of kindness in human existence.
Oh, there is, and I always say too, every day's a gift, no matter how bad it gets. Every day's a gift, and embrace every day because it matters. So you've written a book as well, have you not?
Yes, I have.
Please
I've
talk
written a
about
book.
it.
The book is called Why Am I Here? And it's a fairy tale for adults. It is a fully illustrated book. There are 170 illustrations, and I created them. I had the ideas, but there was another guy, the graphic designer, who created everything. And on every page, there is a passage, there is a short passage, because nowadays people have very short attention spans. And I'm talking about different realms of life. I'm talking about love, relationships, parenting, how to manifest the future that you truly want and not your fears. It's a beautiful book that it's an easy read and it's beautiful on a coffee table.
How's the reception been towards it?
People who read it, they really like it and then they gift it to others. And I have received some messages from readers saying that a particular passage has really, really changed them, especially when people go through heartbreak, and we can be heartbroken when we lose our job or someone dies or we go through a breakup or a difficult life phase, then they find it very supportive and inspiring.
That's great. And how long did it take you to put it together? Because you had to get a graphic designer, but how long did it put together, and how did you conceive of the idea?
3 months. And it had been in my head since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me a very long time, but then the moment I decided it, everything became very clear. And the graphic designer was there. His name is Vangelis Papaioannou. He's Greek, and we're just working on it. And in 3 months, it was out. Everything was aligned. A friend of mine knew a lady that has the biggest publishing house in Athens, Greece. And it just happened seamlessly and very smooth. Because when something is ready to happen, then everything around you aligns for your project to become a reality. But I've been thinking about it for 13 years before that. Then the right moment wasn't there, and I was not ready to create it. When I was ready, the format was clear, the illustrations were clear, the colors were clear, and it all came together.
Well, 2012, it took me 3 years to decide to do this podcast. I finally started in 2022. So it took me about 3 years to say, I don't want to, I don't know. And I decided to do it. So yes, it was percolating in my head. So I always find that, when we do it, it's like, you're glad you did it, right?
Exactly. But maybe you needed 3 years to get the conviction. Every new start has challenges. It is impossible that you're not challenged. During the writing the book, I was sleeping for 4 or 5 hours every night. I don't recommend it to anyone, by the way, but I was fed by the excitement of writing a book. But maybe I wasn't ready for that earlier. And maybe you were not ready for that earlier. But you needed 3 years for everything to crystallize in you, find the right people, find the cause, and offer this to the world.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Absolutely. And another thing that I find out just in everyday life when I talk to folks, I'm sure when you talk to folks, when somebody's going through a stressful situation in their life, could be family, job, and then they talk to you or talk to me, it's like you offer words of encouragement or you've been through that. And then at the end of the conversation, they're thankful and grateful. And they probably have a different perspective when you first met with them during that interaction.
Isn't that the greatest gift of human existence?
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel more rejuvenated than them because I connect with their joy. I connect with their relief. I feel that feeling of, I know now what to do. And then you get the helper's high. When you help someone else, you have a high. You are at the top of the world. Not because you're narcissistic, that's not what I mean, but it feels so good for people to offer their wisdom or whatever help and support they can to someone else. We are genetically predisposed to feel good about ourselves. And that's how the world goes round. That's how communities are built. Humans, we can do a lot of things by ourselves, but in isolation, we're never going to be as strong as we're going to be as a group. And that's the reason big corporations with thousands of employees work well together because every team, they work as an individual unit, but also as a team. And that team collaborates with another one. That's how the world works. We need to receive help, ask for help, but also be ready to offer it.
This is not a corny statement, but I always think if people were more kind to each other, this would be a better world because there are some people out there who are just angry and they want to bring everybody down.
That is true. These are hurt people. And they believe that the only experience that a person can have is to hurt others or to feel isolated or to feel betrayed. We can let them be, but it can also nudge them into a different reality. And if we keep giving them some kindness, then we might show them that there is another way to do life. And we might have one more person converted into the kindness world.
It doesn't cost anything to be nice to people or kind to people. Nothing. It doesn't cost anything. I mean, just simply opening a door for somebody or letting somebody go, at an intersection, something like that is just an act of kindness. I know it sounds kind of small, but it is.
It's beautiful. It's the paid forward. There was a movie about that many years ago, and it always comes back to you. Always. You should not do it so that it comes back to you, but you should know that any act of kindness you put out in the world, it will come back to you. And as I say, and I have it in the book, and this is one of the most favorite concepts that people comment on, life is like a piggy bank. Whatever you put in there, whether it's kindness or whether it's hatred, that's what you're going to find your time of need. Have you been kind? When you need kindness the most in your life, there will be people coming from all parts of the world very willing to help you, even people you don't know. If you have put in there hatred or lack of respect or anger, or I just don't care about you energy, that's what you're going to find the moment you need it the most.
You mentioned about paying it forward. I found like when helping people or doing things, you may not see it right away, but you may see it somewhere down the road. It does not that we look for being paid back. I don't. But when you do a nice deed for somebody or some organization, somehow it is paid back. And that's just, again, that's just kindness.
Exactly. Exactly. How would the world be if one of our main driving forces was kindness. You see someone struggling with their groceries, you see someone struggling with the baby, and if you could go and help, if you could go and offer some support, and then that person feels so loved, so supported, they will be kind to someone else. We're teaching each other as we just move through our daily lives.
That is just tremendous. So what are some other things couples can do, while listening, maybe to get through maybe a difficult situation if they don't talk to a therapist? What are some things that they can do, maybe short term, maybe to maybe turn the tide?
I think that we don't always listen to our partner. So, listening with the intention of finding out, exploring, educating ourselves with who our partner is. Also, understand that if I met my partner at 25 and now we're 35, this is not exactly the same person. There have been 10 years and different experiences. Have I paid attention to the transformation, to the changes? Is there pain? Asking, is there anything else I can do? What do you want? Let's say that people are sharing two young children, 5 and 7, they have two jobs. What is your real dream? Do I know my partner's real dream? Can I support them in that? Can I sacrifice something of my time, of my joy, or my sleep in order to give them a leg up so that they go where they need to go?
Hmm.
That is very important. We don't always know how we have transformed. We don't ask the big questions. How do you truly feel in this relationship? I would strongly recommend once a week or once every 10 days, a couple finding time where they're just together, looking at each other's eyes. We don't do that. We don't look at each other's eyes with the intention to really see what is there and ask that person, how are you feeling? What is it that I can do differently? What is it that I do well enough and you enjoy? Is there something that you would like in life that you don't have yet? And I can assist you to go there. Get to know each other. Otherwise, people end up being two strangers living together and being driven by the project of the moment. The kid needs to go to school. The kid has the flu. We need to take the kid to the dentist. Yes, this is nice, but you are not bonding. Your soul and the other person's soul are not getting aligned. You're just two business partners going about your daily business. So sometimes when kids are more independent during their adolescence or when they go to college, that's when people go, who are you? And how have we been living together? And you know what? I'm 50, you're 50, but I no longer want to be with you because I want more.
Wow, man, oh man, that's a reality slap.
It is, and it's happening more and more nowadays. Great divorces. 50% of people in their 50s, when their kids go home, sometimes they just divorce because they don't know each other. Without the project, without the business going, which is the kids, they no longer understand each other. So learn each other,
Man.
understand what you want, talk about what is deeply in your soul and in your heart, and try to facilitate each other's dream.
You know what I've seen too, and I'm not making a judgment here, like, you go out to eat, my wife and I, we put our phones down and we shut them off. I don't wanna look at my phone, but, I'll see families out there, all of the families will be on their phones while they're out at dinner. They should be talking to each other.
Exactly. I don't get that. They all go out, they might be paying for a very expensive meal, and never's in their phone. And their only drive is, did you say this? Did you say this? Sure, it's nice. Let's share. Did you say this? But let's talk. Like our children, 14, 13, to have a completely different language. I don't always understand it. Wouldn't it be nice if we say, hey, what is Reese? What is, you keep saying sick? What does that mean? I understand instead of shutting them down because parents sometimes would just shut them down and they feel insignificant, they feel invaluable. So just go there and say, I want to learn. Can you teach me? And then you will see your child beam. They feel seen and recognized. And that language that other people put down, their parents want to learn about.
You must have an energy to go to work every day because I can just tell by being on this episode here, you're just full of energy and enthusiasm. How do you do it?
I think that I was born with a lot of energy, but the one thing that keeps me going, I love people. I just love people. I love people. I love their problems. I love the way they think. I love uncovering things that they did not know about themselves. I love helping them heal. Sometimes I'm also working with people who, sorry, something's in my eye, who have a terminal disease. And some of them, they will die, unfortunately. But for some of them, we turn things around. They go into remission and they end up having another 20, 30 years. This is so much energy for me. It is the best volcanic explosion that is happening in my mind and in my body. And it feeds me for weeks to come.
That's great. So, where can my audience find you on social media? Are you on social media? I know. Where can they find you on social media?
It's at official Maria Micha, and my surname is spelled Micha. And I also have a website where they can send an inquiry, and it's my name, mariamicha.com.
Wow, that is absolutely tremendous. I learned a lot this episode that you were on, Maria, and it was quite fascinating just to learn about the subconscious, couples, you're working with couples. It was a deep conversation, and I'm really honored that you came back on. Maybe you can come back on again, and we can talk
Of
more
course.
about it because this was quite enlightening for me. I mean, I just learned some things about talking to you about just like my life.
I'm so happy to hear that. Always here for your audience and for you, Rob. It was such a pleasure to be with you, to talk with someone who understands it, who gets it, who has the excitement of the knowledge, and to go deeper in what makes us and what makes us spark.
Yeah, it's my life experiences have really like guided me and given me the, I don't know, the daily living, whatever you want to call it. I mean, just the experiences I've had. Life is hard. You got to get through it, and each day is a gift. And if people would follow that, I promise it does get better from my thing. I'm not a psychotherapist, but you got to get through the hard part, and that'll get you to the good part. So, Maria Micha, thank you so much for joining me, and it was quite an honor.
Thank you. The honor is all mine.
Well, thank you very much, Maria. I really appreciate you coming on. I
Oh, me
really
too,
enjoyed it.
Rob.
I learned a lot.
Great. I'm at your disposal anytime you need anything. I'm happy to help on a personal level. I'm happy to come on your podcast again. If you ever have a question or if you know someone who needs anything, I'm more than happy to help.